You're listening to For Better and Worse with Jess and Rach. Hello, Rachel.
Hi.
I'm hobbling around here and some stuff from Jess's closet. Some Polly Pocket shoes.
They're very cute, though. Very stylish. I was looking at them as I was bringing them in because Rach is going to take them, I assume.
Yeah, I mean.
She wanted to give them a try, give them a go around.
Oh, yeah. I
but 10 out of 10. They look great.
Yeah, I mean, in 2022, forget function. Just go with fashion.
I would say that was me last year. I'm trying to tighten up.
Mm-hmm. No.
So I love this journey for you, but for me, I'm going function. What do they call that? What are they calling it now? It's a term, something closet.
The minimalist closet?
No,
that thing?
It's something. It's like a functional, your pieces are all of good quality, but you can mix.
Capsule.
Yeah, you can mix
wardrobe.
and match.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'm full going that because I love to be a trendy bitch.
Yeah.
But sustainably, that will last you.
Mm-hmm.
I do feel like it's something I could dabble with in the future, but for now, Newly is the name of the game.
Yeah.
I'm going to Charleston in less than a week. Super stoked, but I am shooting a wedding there, and then who knows what kind of shenanigans we get in. So I ordered a bunch of dresses there for the wedding and for, whatever. And 10 out of 10.
Do they fit and everything?
Everything's like perfect.
That's so good.
And it's so great because they'll give you honest reviews. I'm sorry, I'm ranting and raving about Newly, but
if only we were actually sponsored by some of these companies.
Because I could really put my heart into it.
Yeah.
Anyways, 10 out of 10 recommend. Dresses were great, but they do give you honest reviews. Like real people will be like, size up, size down, and they'll give you pictures. And I find that to be so helpful.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I haven't even gone on this website.
It's fine.
Can't even try it.
Yeah. Well, when you get around to it.
I mean, I'm just swiping. I was saying to Jess, I'm like, getting off. So I'm in this weird stage where I went off my birth control in December and I got on this new med. So it's like certain things I'm like, is it my hormones? Is it the antidepressant? Is it just what's going on here? Is it the ADHD? 9 times out of 10, it's the ADHD. That's for sure. But certain things I'm just like, Rachel,
what did you
calm
say
down
before we were recording? Am I a toxic bitch?
Oh yeah, am I toxic?
And I said, yeah, I guess in this case, is it, am I toxic or am I just getting my period?
Yeah.
Or are my hormones just really kicking in?
Yeah, no.
Girl, I wouldn't say that. I said you have capabilities to be toxic.
Which, try not to read into that too much, Jess, but
I'm sorry.
I know. I'm like, what examples?
What do you mean by that?
What do you mean by that?
No, we were talking about your thought process.
I know. Am I a bad person?
Am I the villain?
Am I the villain? Am I the drama?
Rach, what have you been up to? You've been hitting the yoga stew. You're back in the game.
I'm back at yoga.
I'd love to hear that.
Which is good. I go to Rogue Awakening. If you're Akron area, a girl I went to high school with. I used to work there and do some stuff for her. But now I'm just going, practicing, and just trying to get the movement going, which feels good. The temps are breaking, which means I'm back on running as well.
Hey, we made it to daylight saving.
Yeah, but I would argue it's good to do all these exercises together because yoga really highlights a lot of my weaknesses in my body, which is like shoulders, hips, and lower back. I'm tight.
I would think that many would argue that nobody knows how not flexible they are in their hips until they do yoga.
Yeah.
There's no other exercises making you rip your hips wide the fuck open like yoga does. But it's a powerful thing. And I feel like that's what we were talking about before.
And I used to avoid, so I was just saying to Jess that I'm doing vinyasa classes, which is traditional yoga. The other thing that this yoga studio specializes in is power yoga. So it's yoga meets a fitness class. So there's weights involved, resistance bands, sliders. It's really fun and I really like that. But as I'm trying to run more, I know that yoga is important because it's I'm so tight. But it's also you have to be okay with not being good. And I'm trying to allow myself that, give myself the freedom to just be when these people are getting in their pigeon, you just downward dog it, you know? 3-legged dog it if you really want.
And that I would say that that's a step in yoga that a lot of people. I was there, but I changed it to do what feels good.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a time and a place too that I can like power through a power yoga, and I'm like, wow, I was fucking in the zone.
Yeah.
And there's other times where I'm like, this does not feel good. I'm gonna hit a modifier one time.
And I'm also going at 7 a.m. So it's like, as part of this, just my body's not quite awake. But that's why I'm liking the heated classes, because I feel like I get warm really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, we're fucking around.
I love it. I love it. I was just talking to my coworkers. Weird to say. I still work at the autism school, but we were talking about yoga, and I was talking about that some stretches can like heal trauma. So like hip openers and side stretches and different things. Yoga people, you can let me know. I don't know all of them, but like, and how different stretches provoke different emotions, which I think is really cool though. And that's what we were talking about too. Yeah. You're being like, I don't know about that. But I would argue that the power classes you're taking, if those are the same ones that I was attending, there's no time to be thinking and meditating.
Which is why I like them, because it's like you're not holding positions.
Mm-hmm. There's different classes.
Yeah. I've taken yin classes, and I've liked those, which is like where you really sit in some hard poses and stuff. But it's weird because I got into yoga in COVID times. So like there aren't any corrections. Like yoga teachers aren't giving corrections.
Mine is back.
Yeah.
With the hands-on assist, and I've never been happier.
Yeah.
When you're in child's pose and they come back and like push your hips back and they run your hand up your back and massage your neck, I'm like, I'm gonna cream right here. I'm like,
that's the touch I need.
Don't mess around too much. Don't touch me again. Don't double back on me, because no. Oh my gosh, dude! This reminds me.
Don't wear any gray yoga pants.
No, I would. You can't catch me dead. My vagina sweats an unreal amount.
I agree.
But hey, whatever. No shame in that game. I'm working out. I'm fueling the body. Okay. But you know what that reminds me of? It's because when the instructor, when the instructor will like double back or like hands on assist, I'm like, she sees some potential in me. I take this so personal.
Oh my God. But also, you're the praise. You need a little bit of.
I'm like, she sees something. She knows I need it, or I'm giving off energy that I, need that or something. And I always feel that way. But anyways, this reminds me of this conversation I had with Joe the other day. And we always talk about movies. We always talk about actors and actresses. Joe loves that. And I'm like, you know what, Joe, this is my toxic trait. And if I were an actress and I was in this love scene, or I was doing a movie with any person I was attracted to, I would think that I would fuck around and think that they actually like me. Like we would kiss and they'd be like, cut. I'd be like, I know you were into that. I know there's something behind it. Yeah. I would think every co-star that I was having a romantic relationship with on set would have to follow through offset.
I would not be able to tell the difference.
I mean, does that get confusing? Can someone help me out?
Are you a famous actress listening to this podcast?
Help me out, Hollywood stars. I mean, I really believe that though. Like, there's no way we can just like we can make this like hot sex scene and make it really intimate and be like, cut, and you guys just like put it here, pal, high five and keep it going. What are you? You're probably still turned on from it. Like, what if he's half chubbed up? Go take care of him. I truly believe that though.
Okay.
How do you manage that?
I don't know. I don't have to. So
yeah. Well,
luckily.
But does anyone else think that, or is it just me? Let me know.
I mean, I definitely I want them to be in love in real life for sure. Like when you see like different co-stars, you're like, are you
like Robert Pattinson, Zoe Kravitz?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also not so much that one because it's not like an intimate thing.
Yeah.
But
I mean, their photo shoot, you want them to be in love. In their interviews, you want them to be in love.
Yeah. I mean, I lucked out because one of the biggest ships of all time is Jughead and Betty and they were together.
And they were.
Yeah.
Cole Sprouse. That's someone who literally. Also, if like you tell me I'm co-star with someone I'm already attracted to, game over. My ego would be so hurt though if they didn't want me to. If they weren't on the same agenda.
Yeah, Josh and I actually did. We did see the Batman movie, actually.
What were your notes? What was your takeaway?
Good, great casting. My overarching question is why, though? Like, why do we need to keep revisiting Batman? Like, I thought it was good. Like, Dark Knight was good,
The best.
But I
That's my opinion.
I didn't even see the Ben Affleck versions except for in one of the.
I don't think anyone did.
No, we don't need to. But I'm just like, I'm also like, well, they drop you in the middle of a storyline, which is like, obviously I know the storyline because I've seen Batman. But I'm just like, I was saying to Josh, I was like, what? Where do they want to go with this though? Like, they just had Christian Bale do a whole thing.
Yeah. So this is my understanding of it because I agree. I'm like, how many times are you going to redo things? But like,
quick together.
Joe's like, it's just like a spoken rule within Hollywood where it's just like you can pick up any Batman you want to do and redo it any way you want at any point in time, and everyone's going to still love it. So I felt the same thing about Spider-Man. I'm like, how many Spider-Mans are done within the last 10 years? It's actually absurd.
Yeah.
And he's like, people just want the new or want
but
it
I
done
feel like
again.
Spider-Man, there was a point because
they had like
they had the Avengers.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, there's a point there. And technically with Ben Affleck, there is a point because they did the whole DC crew movies, the Justice League. But I'm still just like, where? I mean, sure.
I mean,
you do what you want, Hollywood.
People love it.
I mean, I'm not complaining. Robert Pattinson can get it. Okay. Wish he took the mask off a little more.
Well, there's a whole thing on that too. What? Just like where he was at as Batman. That was like, everyone's like, we didn't get any Bruce Wayne. And then
I know, because they drop him in the middle of the darkness. Like the beginning, like Christian Bale. Why are we talking about this?
Are we a movie podcast?
Nobody cares. Nobody cares about this.
Nobody cares.
We don't even care about this.
No, but I'm married to someone who really cares about it, so I could talk about it, but I don't care to because he's had a raging boner for Batman for about 2 weeks. So we need to tone it down.
Yeah.
So I would prefer not to. Let's skip on.
Yeah,
let's move on.
I do have one shit Josh says, and I know that this segment is not as funny for people as it is for me in the moment. But I thought this was hands down one of the funniest things and just like out of pocket things I've ever heard Josh say. I think we're driving. We're driving to the movie actually. And there's like a couple restaurants and stuff on our way, right? And I'm like on my phone, not paying attention. And all I hear is Josh say, "Get those girls out of there." And I'm like, what the hell? What are you looking? I look over. There's a Girl Scout like stand, but it's cold out. Like it's really cold out. He looks at me and goes, "It's not that serious. Why do they have those little girls out?
Girl Scout cookies?
For what?
For the Girl Scout cookies?
I know, but it was like 20 degrees out." He's like, "Get those girls out of there. Get them out.
Get them warmed up."
Yeah. He's like, "Get them out of the cold." He goes, "It's not that serious." He's like, "They're 7 years old.
Aw.
They don't need
They're
to know."
committed to the cause.
He's like, "They don't need to know the hard work of a day's dollar. Not yet."
Work of a day's dollar. Young entrepreneurs. Young Elizabeth Holmes.
I know. Oh.
Not my segue, but could have been a good one.
Could have been a good one.
I will give you an ick of the week.
Ooh. From a personal
What a segment.
A personal?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh.
We were at Giant Eagle, and I've had a few icks of the week, but this is the one that really just hits home. We are getting a few things at Giant Eagle just for the week, just to get us through. And we're like, really, let's not try to spend too much money. We're about to go on vacation. Standards, essentials only.
Pasta, rice,
and I'm like,
beans.
And he's trying to pack lunches, which I respect. So he doesn't eat out at work. It's like it's gonna be like $50 a week. So we're like, let's cut that. She's like, I'm gonna get some stuff for lunches. So he hits up the tuna aisle. First off, tuna, absolutely asinine the way it smells and the way it looks.
Tuna.
Hate tuna.
I'm a tuna girl.
He's a tuna boy, and he is just he's like, cheap. Who cares? It's my lunch. It's healthy. And I'm like, I respect it as long as it isn't near me. And what does he throw in the cart?
What?
Sardines. Who the fuck eats sardines? I'm like,
sorry.
You are a gross boy for that.
Did he grow up in the Depression?
I have no idea why he likes sardines, but he likes the grossest stuff. Like, I was like, that's giving me I don't know. I don't even know what it's giving me. No, it's disgusting.
Do that in the privacy of your own.
And the worst part
car.
is, this was like, he opened up the can and like tried to shove it in my face. I'm like, I'll throw up all over you. Leave me alone. I actually got mad.
I feel like this is reminding me of Josh did annoy me quite a bit this week, but I can't remember why. Oh, I remember why. And if you follow me on Instagram, you know why. Because my fiance shaved his beard off.
Oh.
2 days before our engagement photos.
Overreaction.
Okay. But he didn't shave his whole beard off. He left the mustache. And I'm just in panic mode.
It's a hipster move. It's giving hipster. It's giving guys who wear beanies. It's giving hot boy energy.
I am in panic mode. There are certain things that, you know, you can save it for the pod. But in that moment, 30 seconds after Josh like comes to me laughing with his facial hair gone, I text Jess and I'm like, it's over. Our relationship is over as I know it.
And this is when I know on the other end of the phone being like, all right.
It's fine. Well, and it was fine.
Gear up.
But this is the thing, because I am like, the first thing I say is like, Josh, we have photos in 2 days. And he's like, so? He gets all defensive.
Classic.
That's sick.
Classic mechanism.
Gets all defensive. And he's like, what? I can't do what I want with my own body, with my own facial hair. And I'm like,
I can't argue there.
I'm like, yeah. Just a weird time to do it, though. Before our photos. I was like, are you wanting to be a clean-shaven man these days? No. And it's like, oh, so you don't need your face to be shaven for these photos when you normally want to have a beard? Oh, he just was like, he's like, I just think it's weird that you prefer me a certain way. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, you prefer me with long blonde hair. That doesn't mean I'm going to cater to you, but I know that. Like, Jesus. But then, you know what the truth came out, Jess?
What was that?
It was an accident.
Always is.
It was an accident.
Always is, but it's disguised as the most purposeful thing they've done.
Oh, he tried. I was like, Josh, my reaction to you accidentally shaving your beard off and you purposely doing it, 2 different reactions, okay? Because if I think that you think this is funny and a prank,
I'm going to be mad. But if you accidentally didn't, I'm going to sympathize.
Especially after the window prank.
Yeah.
He just pranks McGee.
Winnie the Bish out here.
But
I will say, as the photographer of the engagement sesh, which was an absolute success, they look fine. He looks fine. I didn't notice it. I was saying to her, I was like, you know, when someone shaves their entire face, you're like, whoa, I don't even recognize you. I didn't even have that feeling when I looked at him. I'm like, no, still looks like,
and he does shave his face like all the way down, like once a quarter. And I don't ever have a reaction because I don't care. I was like, this is just a weird time to choose to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because like he likes his beard. He likes his little facial hair.
He had an oopsie. It's fine. Joe, own
the oopsie. Don't get defensive over my reaction to being upset that your facial hair is gone.
What I'm jealous of is that Josh can shave his face without a meltdown. Because Joe has shown to do that. He was shaving his face before we went to the engagement session to go for brunch after. Because he's like, I'm trying to get more stash, I'm trying to be like Josh. And he needed his beard cleaned up, no doubt. And I don't know why his shaky hands, his anxious heart, it's just a rush. It's such a rush. He's just frantically shave.
Your barber can do that.
Slow down. And that's what we do. I clean it up the sides underneath. I get him lined up, get him looking right. And that's my job. The girl with the steady hand. But this dude over here just he's like, fuck. And then he freaks out more and he just like takes more down. It's always a mess. So
yeah, and that's what happened. Josh like went down too far. And I explained to him later, I'm like, Josh, you know what we can work around? You know what we can like work with posing? I'm like, a little
patchy patch.
I was like, Jess can edit that. We can move around it. I'm like, that's no reason to completely take your entire beard off of your face.
It's all for the dramatics.
So that gave me the ick.
Yeah. here's another thing, and it's a stupid fight of the week, and it's ongoing, and I'm not
Yeah.
sure it'll ever be disputed.
Mm.
It's a small one, but it's really getting under my skin. It's really irritating me. Is we were watching Caddyshack, the old reliable, the old original Caddyshack, Chevy Chase. You know, I know the movie well enough to know a few lines here and there. Do I know it by the back of my heart? Back of my heart, back of my hand, whatever.
I mean, it can be the back.
Either way,
whatever you want.
Either way, it's fine. We are getting to the infamous pool scene where they put a Babe Ruth in the pool and the dude yells out, "Duty," or little girl's like, "Duty," and Joe's like, "I say duty." I'm like, I'm being funny. I'm like, "Duty." He's like, "I think they say dookie," and I'm like, "It's duty." End of conversation. The scene rolls around. This was before the scene. The scene rolls around. Little girl screams, "Duty," like I said. And he's like, "I don't know why you thought it was dookie." I'm like, "I said it was duty. You said it was dookie." And he will take it to the grave. He's like laughing. We're both laughing because we're mad. We're like, "No, that's what you said." And so he is not letting up. He is not letting up. I'm like, "Are you playing this prank on me? Is this like a long game prank where you officially thought you said someone else?" I know it sounds so silly, but he's like really holding up that I said dookie, and I wouldn't have.
No, I'm on your team.
Thank you. I'm like dead ass set. I said duty. We've said a lot of
Duty or
gross
dookie?
words. Hey, duty or dookie? You tell me. It's duty, okay? And I said that. Anyways, he's taking it to the grave, I guess. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if it's like a long game prank he wants to play.
You don't have a foot to stand on here with your shaky hands.
You don't.
No. Shaky hands, shaky mind. Okay, can't trust her. Can't trust her for a minute.
That's a good one.
All right, Jess.
The meat.
The meat, which is more of just like the season we're in as a society. We're lapping this stuff up.
And it's called scamming season, baby.
Scam booze.
We love a scam booze. And by we, I mean me.
And society as a whole, man.
We do. And I think we'll deep dive that as we get into each scandal, each scam of why.
Scamdal.
A scandal. Why we're obsessed or why we take to this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We'll dive into it. And I think it's more specific to each scam themselves.
Yeah.
Is kind of how I broke it down. But I mean, we're talking, over the past like few years, it's been Fyre Festival, it's been Theronos, it's been WeWork,
the Anna Delvey.
And all this is coming out in obviously media, but in films and documentaries now. So like Inventing Anna was a Netflix special. The Dropout just came out, Hulu. So with all this stuff, I find it super interesting. It's like my favorite content. So I wanted to deep dive. We're going a different route here. We're actually going to give you, if you are not familiar with each scam, we're basically going to give you the whole backstory, and we're going to bring up different things that stood out to us, why it's wild, why it's crazy, why.
Well, I think it's funny that like
how they get so far.
I have always found this stuff fascinating. My favorite movie for a long time, still one of my favorite movies, is Catch Me If You Can.
Yes.
Which is true.
And absolutely
it's based on a true story.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
It's like, this movie walked so everything else could run as far as I'm concerned.
What a good segue.
Catch Me If You Can. Watch it. It's so good.
I haven't seen it in a long time.
Tom Hanks, Leo.
You can't. Leo doesn't know wrong though.
Christopher Walken.
Oh yeah.
It's amazing. And okay, I can't wait to get into this.
Yeah.
Jess really prepared. And in true Rach fashion, I ingested a lot of material and didn't write it down. So when I tell the Anna Delvey story, I'll be telling you like it's hot gossip on the street.
And that's what we want.
Okay. And Jess will be telling you like she's leading you in a classroom. So
I am just so interested, and I'm like watching The Dropout currently. So I'm watching episode every week, as well as just rewatch the documentary. So I'm hot in.
And I don't know much about it, so I'm excited to hear. Get in.
Okay, let's get into it, guys. Theronos scandal. I've already mentioned The Dropout, starring Amanda Seyfried. I always can't get that right. Anyways, we'll talk about her role in this whole thing and how she prepped for this role, but we'll talk about the real person, Elizabeth Holmes. Okay, guys. So Elizabeth Holmes is the founder and CEO. She dropped out of Standard at 19. And
Standard or Stanford?
did I say Standard?
Yeah.
We're off to a good start on this new adventure for better and worse is taking. She's Standard University. No, Stanford. Okay, she was 19 years old at this time.
Oh, when she dropped out?
Yes.
So she's a child.
An absolute child. So also her upbringing is like pretty wealthy of like engineers, chemical engineers, biomedical
Like she's
engineers.
smart. She's
Always
smart.
been gifted. Like it was from a young age they knew she's got something special about her. But yeah, at 19, she used her tuition money to put into this company, Theronos.
That her parents approved of?
So not at first. Her dad was like on board with like her following her dreams and taking after like some entrepreneurs in the family. But her mom was like, you're crazy. But once she started rolling in the dough, they were like, okay, I think you can do this.
Yeah.
But she marketed herself, and this is what everyone what things stick out about her is her appearance, because first, she's a female. So she marketed herself as like Steve Jobs, right? Her obsession with Steve Jobs was like a whole thing in The Dropout, but they talk about that her growing up, being obsessed with entrepreneurs like Zuckerberg and Steve Jobs, and like she actually took on his look. So her famous look of like her in the black turtleneck with her hair pulled back, it's very much, it's giving a lot of Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
And that is red flag number 1 in my opinion. But also people talk about her in the deep voice that I guess has been confirmed that she did that to sound more like dominant, more masculine and authoritative. So I find
she
that
like
to
faked
be
her voice?
Yeah. And it would like, people say it would slip when she would like be out drinking or, you know, other places, or when she wasn't in meetings, it would get deeper, or when she was in meetings, it would get deeper. Okay. Anyway, so that is her. She's dropped out of Stanford and she's starting up this company. Okay. In 2003, Theranos introduced this blood testing startup, pitching this like revolutionary device, this technology. So while existing technology required 1 vial of blood for each diagnostic test, Theranos claimed to be able to perform hundreds of diagnostic tests from just a prick of blood. So they would just put into this machine that they built, and it would immediately emit results. That's what they were trying to obtain. So they were going to change medicine and lives forever. Like truly. Like,
so she just had this idea, like, wouldn't it be cool? And then was like, I'm going to make this, but didn't know how to make it.
Yes.
Like logistically.
Correct. So that's when she like teamed up with people. She had her professor at Stanford kind of sign off on this, and she brought in people that she knew from Stanford that she worked with in labs and stuff. It showed that she's like very smart.
Yeah.
But she just didn't know the technology of this or the science or anything about this.
Yeah. Did she think she knew the science, or was she like, I'm focused on the biz?
She had really nothing to do with like the lab portion of it.
She was just like, this
she
is a
wanted
science
it
thing
to just work. She's like, and they kind of told her like, we can do this.
Yeah.
Let's try it. Like, this is something could be obtainable. The idea is there. We want it. Everyone's motivated.
It's possible.
It's possible. And she was just like, I'm going to run the business. I'm going to get us the money to fund this. Like, we're all in this together.
And that's probably where it went awry, getting the money.
So she ended up raising $700 million, which is crazy money. So she also just got investors to invest without a working prototype, which blows my mind.
Did she say there was a working prototype? Or
yeah, I feel like,
are these investors just investing in a business?
Yes.
That is, you know, like they're crowdfunding basically, but not, you know,
and they would
real
ask questions,
version.
and she kind of went through the ringer on it, and it shows in The Dropout. But she's got denied a bunch until, you know, over time, she just is like, no, like, pedal to the gas. Like, I'm hitting this. Let's go. I'm using who I am as a person and my confidence and being a woman to make this happen. So company overall was valued at $9 billion.
How long does this go on? I want to know, like, how long has this been a business?
I'll tell you.
Okay.
So, like I said, the prototype technology doesn't work. So Elizabeth is taking all this money good and well knowing that this isn't going to happen. So although like speculation would arise throughout time with investors like, hey, some things are adding up. Looks like we can't see the prototype. Like investors being, let's see this in action. And she would just kind of use secrecy and intimidation and talk her way out of everything. So the lie would just continue. So she was also crazy about security at Theronos, and she would make people sign NDAs coming and going in the building. What does that say? It says I have a lot to hide.
Yeah.
You know? So crazy. So this is continuing, and it's just growing, absolutely growing at this point. They make a deal with Walgreens to have this in store. So basically the wellness clinics is what they were calling them at the time, but it's basically minute clinics. Walgreens was kind of on board with this during the time. This is 2000s, early 2000s. So they made a deal with Walgreens. They were going to have what they called the Edison, which is their first prototype of just a machine. You prick your finger with blood, put it in the machine, in a cartridge, put it in the machine, it comes out. It would just pop up on a screen, all your tests from the blood. Whereas before, we're going to put it in a big vial, take, you know,
what
out
does
of your
it say
vein.
about me that I'm also like, why doesn't that work?
Right.
Like that's
No,
what,
wait,
what does
wait.
that say about me that I'm like, make it work, people.
Wait till
This
we
is
get
a great
to this.
idea.
That's exactly what I want to deep dive. I'm so glad you're already thinking like that. Okay.
Like,
So-
what's happening?
So after years of this product not working, right? They can't get the Edison, the prototype to work at all. And they're faking it
How many years?
they're faking it. Okay, so
How many years has this been going on?
hold on, let me count. About 10 years.
Holy shit.
Overall. So I don't know like when Theronos started in 2003, and in 2015 the whistle blew. Like there were whistleblowers throughout time, but this is when
investors are waiting this fucking long.
because they're using secrecy, intimidation, talking their way out of things. But I'll tell you what they are doing is they're sending their samples through the same machines used by traditional like blood testing machines, blood diagnostics. How they were doing it in the past, which is what they wanted to change. They're doing the same thing but marketing it as the prick of the finger. And they're taking like real vials of blood, doing the same thing, doing the same thing that everyone else is doing it.
As their data.
Yes. So that's how they're getting their results. A lot of this like testing that they were doing came back, you know, inconclusive, wasn't working, you know, and they were just kind of covering it up. So blasphemy. October 2015, Wall Street Journal comes out, blows the whistle. The whistle's been blown many times before, but like Elizabeth and her partner, Sonny, were just talking their way out of it. Like just using crazy tactics just to get you on board. I'm surprised it just got that far. That blows my mind.
Yeah.
So once the whistle blew, legal action was taken, obviously. Like not immediately to shut down, but she was just kind of chalking it up to, this is what she said. She tried to cover it up. And I find this quote really interesting. She says, "This is what happens when you work to change things. And first they think you're crazy, then they fight you, and then all of a sudden you change the world." Like she's still holding on for dear life.
Oh, absolutely.
Which I find interesting too. So
I mean, you have to get so deeply embedded in your own truth.
I do believe she kind of lost it there. Like,
yeah.
And we could talk about this after, but I do believe that, and it kind of shows in the Dropout when you guys watch, if you watch, that you kind of see her side of the story in it, that she actually believed that she could change the world. Like genuinely thought she was doing a good thing and was just hoping that this machine would work. And eventually
I want to get to the point of why doesn't it work? Like, what is the sign? Like,
that is not something we'll never know either, or never understand. There were people who worked on this prototype from the start with her and were like, the technology's not there, Elizabeth. Like, this is like 20 years out. And I'm sorry to tell you that. She'd be like, "You're fired. I'm taking all your stuff. Don't ever talk about Theronos again." And she would just cut you out and like refuse to believe it.
I mean, I also refuse to believe it.
I know.
Like, I mean, blood is blood. So why not?
Right.
I'm going to get caught up on this.
Right. But that's what's really interesting. Okay. 2016, a year after the whistle blew, the lab shut down. And that's when the legal actions really started coming. So after that, it's been like a whole mess. So the trial was a mess. She kept asking for extensions. She, when COVID was really
what is she
happening.
charged with? Like fraud?
Yeah. So in January, she was found guilty on 3 counts of wire fraud and 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud.
Wire fraud?
Wire fraud, yeah.
Like
I don't understand. Maybe we should bring Joe in for the legal stuff. I didn't really do that, but if you know what those mean.
Wire fraud.
Wire fraud. But they found her not guilty on 4 other counts and failed to reach a unanimous verdict on the remaining 3 counts against her. I don't know what those counts were, but it goes to show that, like, I guess the verdict, like, deliberated for about a week and couldn't come to, and that's, but I get that now after watching The Dropout.
If I was on the jury, I'd be like, I agree with her.
Yeah, I agree with her as a woman. She
does no wrong.
But she did. I mean, she did a lot of stuff she knew deep down, and she was doing crazy things to get money to fund. I don't know. Was she getting money to fund because she really had hope that this would work?
Yeah.
But after a while, they're like, you have to pull out. You're going to fuck a lot of people over. A lot of people like gave her out saying like, you don't have this. You know, the idea's there. You gave it a try. Startups are really hard. You know, you gave it the best you got. Why don't you take off a few years or start something else? You have good ideas, you know?
Yeah.
So anyway, she's just things about her personality are really interesting to me too. I guess during
so does she ever go to jail or prison?
Yeah, she's going to. People are saying she's out on bail right now, or I don't know. She's supposed to go soon.
Okay,
she has like basically her charges are like 20 plus years of prison.
And
they said she'll do less, but it's highly likely that she'll do time, a good amount of time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Also, when all this was going down, like when the legal actions and the proceedings were happening, she randomly bought a husky, named it Balto, and like would bring it to meetings, and it wasn't potty trained. It would just like pee and shit everywhere. Unhinged behavior, out of pocket behavior. She's kind of a mess.
Huskies are, I mean, you know, not your go-to thought for emotional support animal. You know?
No, it's not. 100% not. But I mean, she chalked it up to out of time, out of money. But I mean, in reality, it's like she chose fraud over business failure. Because she could have take the L, take the out. People are going to give you the out.
So she was caught lying, basically.
Oh, yeah.
Like she would tell people the prototype works, but it didn't work.
No, she's absolutely saying that this is how we test blood. This is new, innovative technology, and this is what we're using. This is what Theronos is about. When she's doing the same thing all the other companies are doing when it comes to blood testing.
So people were sending their blood into her lab to get tested.
And she's like, we're just using this drop technology, you know, the Edison, the Theranos machine, whatever it is. Yeah.
Pretty wild.
Crazy. Yeah. I mean, so here's some takeaways that I kind of took on it. A fake it till you make it mentality.
Oh, yeah.
Am I right? And here's the thing. How can some people make millions, billions doing the fake it till you make it, and other people can't even barely tap into the system?
Well, I would argue it's more than fake it till you make it. It's fake it till you believe it.
Oh, yeah. Delusional. Low-key delusional.
Yeah.
Interesting. Also, so, hold on. What did I write about exactly what you said? Okay, so there's a quote in the article, but it says, behind every Elizabeth Holmes out there, there's people who buy into the idea. And like, that's what you're saying. It's like, why do we just blindly trust? Because it sounds believable. Yeah. Like we do just like blindly trust all of this stuff. But I guess we don't have a reason not to. But now with all these scams coming out and like,
oh yeah,
should we just be second guessing everything? I don't want to live like that.
I know. Well, I think I've talked about this definitely with you, but on the podcast, because when we first thought about doing scams, we wanted to make them wedding related. But really, I mean,
they're all the same. They're contractual.
Yeah, it's contractual. It's people that did a wedding video for their friend that wanted to make a business, decided that they didn't want to own the business anymore, took your deposit and run, you know?
Right.
It's all the same story. But there was a huge kind of like scamboozle Fyre Fest for like wedding photographers that happened.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like, I actually knew the people that were running it, but I had just moved back to Ohio. And so like I wasn't going to it, but it was like a bunch of these big name like photographers were getting flown out to lead. And so many people like bought tickets. And I think it was a classic case of like, you know, you go to host a workshop. you don't realize how many people are going to be interested.
Mm-hmm.
Then, 200 people apply and you're just like, well, I better make it work because I want all the money.
Mm-hmm.
But it was people got there and didn't know that there wasn't anywhere to stay.
Yes.
They got there and there wasn't any food provided. The instructors had no idea what they were doing. They had no guidance. And so a lot of the instructors were like, we're leaving. This is a shit show. Yeah. And they walked out. They were like, we're not putting our name on this. And like, therefore they had publicly bashed the whole situation. Like, hey, no, you heard I was here, but like, this is not like anything I'm comfortable like saying, like so unprofessional. And it wasn't a photographer that hosted this workshop. It was like a wedding magazine that hosted it. And they went under from it because it was like such bad press. And I think they've kind of tried to restart. And it really was a case of like, they wanted to make it work so bad.
Yeah. I mean, that's Fyre Fest photographer's version.
Yeah.
Like,
it really was.
Everyone wants it to work out, but like also the Fyre Fest guy, Billy McFarland, like he was a true con man. Like he was doing shit just to get money to pay for it for sure, but definitely dreamed too big on it.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes it's just like if people are stupid enough to sign up for it, it's not my problem.
Mm-hmm.
People don't look into it enough. It's not my problem.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's what like some real scamsters can do.
Yeah.
Scamsters.
Hamsters, scamsters. But yeah, I feel like the Fyre Fest stuff too, it's like I feel like the social media aspect of it all had a lot to do with it. I mean, we could deep dive Fyre Fest or we can get into Anna stuff, but that's my takeaway on that. It was like they had all these famous people post like a orange square. This is for Fyre Festival. And that just like took over and a bunch of rich people just booked a bunch, like blindly booked. I mean, I think tickets range from like $500 to $100,000 stuff. You could just add stuff on.
What?
For Fyre Fest.
I've never seen it. Like I know that it was like supposed to be a music festival.
Okay, I forgot that you didn't know. Okay.
Yeah, I know it was a music festival.
Can I cliff
and
notes it?
I believe there's something about cheese sandwiches.
Yeah, can I cliff notes you on it?
Yeah.
Okay. So Billy McFarland and Ja Rule, I guess, are like the
Ja Rule?
Ja Rule got thrown under the bus, dude.
What?
Yeah, he was like Billy's right-hand man in the Fyre Festival stuff. He's like, I got the ins on music, let's...
And who is Billy?
So Billy was just like some...
Like, is he a club promoter?
Rich guy. So what he started was a credit card company called Magnesis. And he said, you sign up for Magnesis, this card, we get you exclusive VIP tickets to different... Like, that's their perks, right? So we'll get you into the Cavs game. First row seat. Cavs aren't anything. But you know what I mean? Yeah. Or like Billie Eilish tickets, second row. Like that was the perks of getting this credit card of his. And he also hosted like black card access parties where like VIP people would just like go in and party really hard.
At Planet Fitness or?
I don't know. Wherever.
Black card?
No, black card. no, just like.
It would have been funnier if she caught
Hi, I know, sorry. High end shit. That was the promo, but it actually went under because people's tickets were just scams. He's like, he couldn't get the tickets. Refunds were taking too long. So that was his first scam. Red flag number 1.
Yeah.
So then he's like on to the next Fyre Fest VIP party that definitely turned into a disaster. Is basically promoted as like a music immersion.
Yeah. Cause where was it?
It was a private island. So it was supposed to be like in the Exumas in the Bahamas.
Okay.
So, okay. He bought an island in the Bahamas and he promoted it to everyone as Pablo Escobar's island.
Oh.
Yeah. The cool drug guy who was responsible for all the deaths. They're come to this island.
Yeah, I want to go to the murder island.
The murder island. So he got a bunch of really famous female models to do a photo shoot and promote the event. He paid over 300 social media influencers and other famous individuals buku bucks to post this orange square for Fyre Festival. The promo for the video was absolutely insane. They had Bella Hadid on there, Hailey, she was Baldwin then, but Hailey Bieber, really expensive, high up there models, went to this beautiful island. It was insane. They have yachts everywhere. They're like Fyre Festival, and they just promoted it like it was going to be the next best thing. So in 48 hours, 90% of the tickets were sold with that influence of just social media. So the promo video came out. They had their own Instagram and website, And then just all of those.
Never underestimate the power of a good promo vid.
Truly.
And Ja Rule.
And that's where I feel like the marketing technique of FOMO really fucking kicked in here.
Mm-hmm.
So expectation of this was a 3-day party on a private island, described as an immersive music festival. And they would fly in on a private jet as this luxury VIP experience. That's the whole point of this Fyre Fest. It was like not your average Bonnaroo. It's like we're going fancy, which is why it's like $100,000 a ticket. So the reality was you showed up on a regular plane, coach class with all the attendees who are coming to the festival as well. Not a private jet. No, in no way first class at all. And they just slapped their logo on the plane, like slapped it over like American Airlines. And they're like, here's your private jet. Another expectation is people paid about like thousands of dollars to stay in these luxury domes and villas, which happen to be like those natural disaster tents, like hurricane relief tents.
Yep.
And that they were still setting up as they arrived. And the craziest part is there were not enough tents to sleep everyone who attended. And they knew that.
Math.
They knew that going in. Many times people were like, same thing with like Elizabeth, pull the plug, Billy. Pull the plug, dude. Yeah. It's not going to work.
You don't have the things you need.
We do not need this to blow up in our face when they get here. He's like, no. He pedal on the gas. He's like, we're not. He's in too deep. Yes. So also nothing was set up. Nothing was what it was supposed to be.
Why am I so much more critical of this? Because it's a man.
I know.
I'm like, he's an evil bastard.
I know. But like, why were we low-key rooting for Elizabeth? But we're like, you are a con man.
I don't know.
But I guess like because like she actually wanted to help people.
Yeah.
In the back of her mind, like that was a want. But obviously money took over and just snowball effect, you know?
Yeah.
Anyways, luggage, another detail. These are just like astounding details to me. But luggage, they were like waiting in this huge long line to get in. And like luggage was just in this like storage container. And there were no tags, no way of finding your luggage. You just like put it in and go. And then I guess it turned into some Lord of the Flies meets Hunger Games type shit where everyone's freaking the fuck out, fending for themselves. Like people are like pooping in other tents so that other people don't take it. I'm talking survival 101.
How many people?
I have to double check that. I have no idea how many people showed up, but a lot. Less than what they expected, right? Because like
some people were like,
there were whistleblowers in this too, saying like Fyre Fest is a fraud, like get out now while you can, but you know, there's people who still wanted to see it through.
Yeah.
Once everyone tried to leave and they realized that this was an absolute bust, they had not booked any flights out. Like Fyre Fest did not set any of that up. So they're sitting at this Bahamas small ass airport trying to get out. And they're like, we have no flights for you.
Oh my God.
And so people were just sleeping in there in the airport in this small ass room. No one's getting fed. There's no food for anyone. They were promised 5-star caterers and got the infamous styrofoam thing with the cheese sandwich and the lettuce slab. Yeah, all of this was supposed to be set up, right? Like,
yeah,
it was all supposed to be there. Like, the hopes were there, but like they couldn't make any of that happen.
Did he get jail time?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He also made the locals, this is what I feel like everyone's take home from Fyre Fest is, and especially in the documentaries, was he hired a bunch of locals to work and just didn't pay them. They were working like endless hours because he's like, we have to get this done. We have to get the stage up. We have to get these tents set up. And they're like, we can't make this happen, Billy. And they're like, you need to work harder. You just need to work more hours. And didn't end up paying them anything. Up. So there were like GoFundMes and things for people in the documentaries and, you know, locals and that island that people were raising money for, which is good.
Yeah.
And of course, I think he owes them a shit ton of money with his sentence. But yeah, he got 27 years. Oh, he's 27 years old and he pleaded guilty to wire fraud charges. That's really hard for me to say. And was sentenced 6 years to prison last October. I don't know. Joe said that he'll serve all 6. I'm not sure that he will, but I don't know what that means. Is that like overcrowding?
Yeah.
I guess what this one is, was he in over his head or is mental health a factor? Or was he a true con man?
Yeah.
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
Believing your own lies.
Never doubt an ego.
Never doubt an ego. But I also said this too. I'm like, it's kind of funny to low-key laugh at all the rich fucks that were able to afford this, right? Like you were stupid enough to go through
Right.
with this, and you paid $200,000. Also, at one point, they were running out of money, and they like put out this market for wristbands that your money is tied to your wristband. So they just put on a bunch of add-ons that weren't existing. So VIP access with Blink-182 is supposed to pay. There's no meet and greet for that. Like just made up stuff.
So did the music artists come?
No.
None of them came.
No. I don't know. I know the big one, Blink-182, backed out once they heard like speculation. And they were like the headliner, which isn't even that. I mean, they're great, but they're not. When I think music festival, I don't think headlining Blink-182.
No.
You know? So like they were having trouble. There's a whole thing on the documentary about the guy who was booking talent, was like, he had no money. I had no money to give to these guys, and I'm just trying to like book talent to come.
But where's the money going? Where are the ticket sales going?
Right. I mean, you would think that it was enough, but not enough to, I guess, to have a private huge party on an island. Not enough to whatever. I don't know. But I do be like, it tells a bigger story about how much social media influences us and what lengths we're going to go to do it for the gram. Because I'm sure that was everyone's motive there.
Okay. I'm going to correct Jess now.
What?
Because $100,000 for a ticket is
not per ticket. We're spending upwards to $100,000 with add-ons.
So some VIP packages sold for as much as $12,000.
Oh. No, you could buy yachts. There were
Okay.
You could stay on a yacht. There were just this is
could
what it
also
said.
get-
This article I
You
read.
could get a ticket of $1,200. Sold about 8,000 tickets, which with advertised musical lineup that boasted of top artists luxury, some VIP tickets. So that
Could be extreme. Read it in an article.
Crazy. I know.
But I think like with add-ons, with whatever, with villas, because so like you didn't have to stay in those huts. You could rent out your own private, which was an Airbnb.
Ticket holders of ill-fated Fyre Festival have won $7,220 each in a class action settlement.
Wow.
So it would be traumatic, or no matter how rich you are, to go somewhere and be like, how can I get out? Just like it would rock your whole world.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
Better?
We have to walk. I need people to know we have to walk up a whole flight of stairs to get to our loft up here.
Yeah. Sorry, we're out of breath.
Okay.
Okay. Are we going in Anna?
We're going to go into Anna. Like it's hot goss on the street, as I said, because this is as many notes as I have.
Perfect. Just
So perfect. Yeah.
yeah. Bullet points, if you will.
Yeah. I might get details wrong, years wrong. I probably should have checked the years because that was nice to know.
You checked me real quick.
Yeah.
On mine.
I have a lot of questions.
I love your questions.
Okay.
Though.
Yeah.
But I'll show you I could cite the source.
All right. Okay. But okay. My sources were a very long and detailed article from The Cut that I just read and didn't take any notes on. Why? I don't know. I was enthralled. I just wanted to read it.
Enthralled.
And then a couple podcasts.
Good.
Let us see. From Stories of Our Times podcast. And it had like actually interview with her. There were a couple that have had interviews with Anna.
Nice.
Either in prison when she was recently out of prison. This one was taking place on March of 2021. But Stories from Our Times are with the Sunday Times. It's like one of their podcasts. And that was really, really good. And then Art World, which it's a recent interview, and she's actually like being interviewed while she's in the ICE detention center because she got released and then is getting deported.
I love that she's able to like just do this from prison.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then
what?
BBC had in 2019, so before this was even on other people's radar, had a 6-part podcast.
Wow.
Let me just say, some people's podcasts very put together.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's BBC, but like, I mean, they had like reenactments. Like I felt like I was listening to old timey radio.
Is unmatched.
I'm like, wow.
Those are the podcasts I listen to. I don't listen to podcasts like ours.
You don't?
Too unhinged.
Oh my God. I was like, wow, I can't even listen to this.
You're like, I'm embarrassed.
So a lot of it I ingested, and I now know. Okay, so Anna Delvey, but actually Anna Sorokin.
Yeah. What is her real name?
Anna Sorokin. Yeah. She changed her name when she moved to Paris at one point. She lived in Russia. She was born in Russia, raised in Russia. There's a lot with this whole story. There's a lot of like differing information, and like no one really knows exact timelines. Like in this BBC podcast, they said she moved to Germany with her family when she was 17. Wow. But some other people make it sound like she she grew up in Germany.
Okay.
So who fucking knows?
She's scamming her own family.
Yeah, at this point. Yeah.
Nobody knows the truth. She's still in the scam. Nobody knows the truth. Yeah. Okay.
But anyway, so she grew up in Germany, and people kind of know her as she enters into New York City as a German heiress. Oh. She's an heiress with a lot of money, and the year is 2017, and she basically shows up at this hotel. I'm not going to use the names because I don't remember them. And she makes friends with this girl named Neff, who's the concierge. And she's just handing out $100 bills. And this is a newer hotel. And she says, like, I'll be staying for 6 weeks, which I think is kind of strange because it's a pricey hotel. And she's just like a young woman. She's tipping people left, right, and center. Like every single time she talks to someone, she hands them a $100 bill.
Wow.
And so people
know her.
Yeah. And I mean, she's also name dropping. And she did work for a magazine called Purple in Paris, which got her the ins at a lot of these different people. Like she did meet like famous people. She did meet wealthy people. And so she wasn't entirely wrong with like stuff.
Right.
But I mean,
by no
was
means
true.
like close with them.
And I think what's really interesting is like she was very mysterious. So like no one knew what her dad did. No one knew. Like some people thought he was in oil. Some people thought he was in
mysterious,
solar.
Or was she telling people different stories?
I think it was mysterious. Like she would give just enough. Mm-hmm. And you know, like when you're talking to someone and you get a feeling like this is a sensitive subject and I don't know why.
Maybe she gave off that vibe a lot.
Yes, gave off that vibe a lot. So they're like, well, we like her. We don't want to upset her. So what does it matter what her dad does if she's paying for our dinners, paying for all these things?
Wow.
But one of the main questions I had is like, where are you getting your money, right? Where are you getting these $100 bills?
Right.
And basically she would like forge bank documents. She would deposit checks and they would make them good. She'd withdraw money and then the checks would never go through. And so like different banks she had scorned around the time. Like, so banks kind of knew. So a theme in this is like she never pays anything by credit card. Like if she needs a taxi and they only take credit cards, like she has to call a friend. Hotels are a big issue. And basically, so Anna comes into New York City. She's a aspiring socialite. She's meeting all these people and she wants to create this like immersive art experience called the Anna Delvey Foundation.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And that's like where a lot of her like energy is going. And she's like really meeting with people, like important people, like the top hoteliers of the world to like get hospitality stuff. And she really is planning on getting this property on the Upper East Side of Manhattan, very nice, the perfect spot, and has investors, people that are interested in like making this happen for her. And so she spends a lot of time working and she's like dead ass, like trying to make this happen, but she needs $22 million and she doesn't have, she only, she'll get her 10 million or whatever when her trust fund comes into whatever.
Okay.
What the other thing I think is very interesting about this is whenever someone runs into a problem, she refers them to her family money manager.
Who is who?
I think his name is like Jeff, and that's not right. God, this is gonna be terrible. Should I cut this whole thing out?
No. I'm interested because I only watched part of the series.
And then along the line, Jeff dies. and has said, please don't mention Jeff's name again in correspondence with me. But Jeff, so Jeff wasn't real. Jeff was never real. He was never the family money manager. But she made this whole personality up for like years. People would be emailing Jeff.
People believed she had money. Even when she didn't have money, they were like, I know she's good for it.
Yes, exactly. Like she'd borrow money from like friends and like some of her rich friends, and they would kind of let it go because they were rich. They were like, oh, she'll get me next time. Oh, this isn't an issue. But when it became an issue was her and her friends like go to Morocco, and basically her cards get declined. She tries to do this wire transfer thing where she'd be like, the wire's going through, like just let us leave.
That's that sound on TikTok.
Yeah.
Why are you the money?
Why are you the money? I don't know what you want me to say. I wired you the money, which is a lot of it. So I'm sure what she got, she probably definitely got wire fraud.
Yeah.
Because of, it's all wire fraud. But basically, she has her friend, like put money on her credit card. But it's not just her credit card; it's her company credit card, like the company she works for's credit card, for like $57,000, which is like they're staying at this $7,000 a night like resort situation.
Okay.
And this is the part where everybody's like, you're screwing millionaires, billionaires, banks. Who fucking cares? But you screw Rachel. You screw Rachel Williams. That's the girl's name.
Okay.
And it's just so fucked up. It's like you screwed your friend who wasn't rich. In the end, it was $63 million.
Oh my gosh!
Or no,
from just Rachel, or
$63,000, not $63 million.
Oh.
Sorry, that was a lot. No, $63,000.
Wow.
But like that's more than she makes in a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Like there's like her and like their friends like sit her down and they're like, where is this? Where's the money? And that's the scene. I wired you the money. Like, but in the end, Rachel ends up writing a book about, it's titled My Friend Anna. And that's how all of this happened. So in the end, Rachel got the money. Okay.
She got wired the money.
She wired herself the money by telling this story.
But like Rachel's one of probably a few. I feel like that's what's coming out now.
And like the unraveling of all of this, like her reputation, everything happens with these hotels. So she stays at this hotel and for 6 weeks or whatever it was. And she has a bill of $30,000. Like she has to pay it. And so they ended up locking her out of her room, putting her stuff in storage. She ends up getting it and, but she ends up paying them back, being able to wire them the money by doing all of this. Like this bank thinks I have this much money and at another bank, and they have proof that I have that money at another bank. So they're going to front me this line of credit.
But she has no money.
She has zero monies.
But she's
wow. Like this is high class fraud.
Yeah.
Like to be able to convince a bank that you're an heiress with money at a different bank. Like what?
Low-key genius. Why am I rooting for women in the scams?
I don't know.
Like I really am.
We love to see it.
But also like
they're a minority in their field. Okay. How are you not going to choose for them?
I mean, men have been doing this for years. Women are just now getting on. And
we're here for it. And they're doing it well. Okay.
Low key.
I mean, bank fraud, all of that.
Wow.
Like to actually be able to get money, to get cash from it. But so then she goes to another hotel. Basically, all of this just happens. Okay. Her friends end up sitting her down in that scene I'm telling you about. And she's like, we're just about to get the club, the up and running. And they're like, no, you're not. Like, it's been rented. Like, you missed it. Mm-hmm. And she's like, no, that's fake news.
Delusional.
Mm-hmm. And then, like, obviously spirals out of control. Ends up admitting herself into rehab in California. Why? Because it would have been harder for police to get to her because they need warrants. They need all of this.
And they're protected. Yeah. She's protected there, like under HIPAA, right?
Uh-huh.
Because they can't tell.
Yeah. But Rachel never like cuts ties with her. Rachel stays like friendly with her. Rachel's like,
I'm getting my money back.
Yeah.
I'm going to be close with her so I can fuck her over.
Yeah. But
True backstab.
Rachel works she's a photographer or a photo editor for some magazine or newspaper. I'm telling this story like your aunt who knows the worst gossip in the world.
I'm hooked.
Okay, good. And she ends up working with police. So she's out in California and is like, hey, I know you're at rehab, but I'm in town. Like, we should totally get lunch. Like, skip out on rehab. Let's go to lunch. And
Get in, loser.
She never goes to lunch, but Anna is there and the police
set her up.
Yeah, she set her up, nabbed her. But this whole thing, when you like actually listen to Anna talk, she said, I just found my arrest to be so extra. She's like, that was a lot. She's like, no, they didn't need to do all that. And like,
what's her sentence?
She's out now, but it was like six years, but she only served like 2 or 3 for good behavior. And in the end, it's like, I think what she was charged with was like, fraud to like $200,000, but like they know it's way more than that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but that's all that like
they can
prove. But even like then, like what she did to Rachel was not convicted because Rachel swiped the card.
She agreed.
Mm-hmm. It's that shitty thing of like, it's that gentleman's agreement. Like, yeah, I'll pay you back.
Yeah.
But no, you didn't. You're not. That didn't happen.
Wow.
But Rachel made the money back, obviously, and like book deals and HBO. I think it's very interesting. So Netflix is doing this series, but HBO is also going to do either a movie or something.
That's what I heard too about the Theronos. Jennifer Lawrence is playing Elizabeth Holmes, and I have feelings about that because I feel like Amanda is absolutely killing it.
Yeah.
Like, we don't need a movie after the show, I'm telling you.
That's how I feel. I think it's like...
But HBO, I will say the Netflix series was done by Shonda Rhimes, if I'm not mistaken, who is very campy, Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah.
And you feel that.
Yeah.
It's not like riveting.
Riveting? What? Well, in one of the podcasts, the whatever art podcast that I listened to, I think it's the second one that I mentioned, the Art World, White Hot Magazine with Noah Becker.
Oh, okay.
He asked her like, how do you feel about the Netflix series? And she's like, what do you mean? She's like, it's my story, but it's their own art. How am I to judge it? Like it's she's like, it was never about telling the truth. It's about them making their own art with my story. Because she has her own narrative. Like she said, she goes, I had no idea what I was doing was criminal.
Do you believe that she really didn't know, though?
No, of course not. You're making... Yeah, no, there's no way.
I don't know. Like I said, like there's delusion that comes into play at some point in all of these, I feel like, where you're believing your own lies. So you just get lost in it. Like if you believe that what you're doing isn't criminal enough to know, you'll believe that you're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
For your own self. I don't know.
But I think it's just so crazy because when you get into like that amount of money, because she also said, what I think is interesting about her is I think that if we're getting into Enneagrams, I think she's an 8 on the Enneagram, which is what I am. Because a 3 is the achiever. It's probably what Elizabeth Holmes is, right? Just wanting that. But it wasn't about success. It was more about like notoriety and the ego. And she's like, having money is not a big deal in New York. Everybody has money. It's about like, for her, it was like being seen. She's like, I didn't like.
So like she also got what she wanted by having a Netflix show about her. And
yeah. Well, she said she's like not exactly the kind of fame that you hope for, but
she'll take it either way.
She basically said it's better than a sex tape.
She'll take it either way.
Well, now, yeah, and so she's getting deported because like she has no legal right to be here. Which that's my other thing. It's like you were a German citizen coming to the United States. How did you even? That's also why you didn't have a credit card. You weren't even legally here.
Right.
No chance. You didn't have a job. You didn't have a visa. I don't know. I didn't look into that, but I'm just assuming.
Jeez.
And yeah, she got a couple years and she's just a weirdo. But like all of this is like, if you're charismatic enough and confident enough, you can do anything.
And that's what I'm finding to be very true. because WeWork, which we can get into
I
another
don't
time.
know. Like, I know what WeWork is because the studio was supposed to be co-working.
Yeah.
Which
So
was
it's
what
a
WeWork
giant
was.
co-working space / culture.
Yeah.
So they just made it seem, and like you would live there, you would dorm it up there, and people loved it. Also, for people who don't think, it's a sense of belonging, which is
Yeah.
what a lot of people want, which is what churches kind of gain,
Yeah.
stuff on, and it's really what it was. But he was just in over his head. His name's Adam Newman.
Okay.
And his wife Rebecca was in on it too. And they just it's actually coming out this week on Apple TV Plus called We Crashed with Jared Leto
Ooh.
and Anne Hathaway.
Ooh.
So we can deep dive that another time
Yeah.
because I don't know enough. I mean, I saw the documentary and it's
I
a
didn't
classic.
even know it.
Adam
I didn't
was
even know it
charismatic.
crashed. When did it crash?
I don't know.
In 2020?
Yeah, really. I think recently.
Because like there's a WeWork episode in Broad City.
Yeah, I mean, it was
she
newer.
comes up with She Work. It's very
Cute. Oh
funny.
my god, I love Brown City.
I love it so much.
But yeah, I mean, that's another one too. Adam was just someone people looked up to and believed and to be charismatic. And I mean, he was an absolute narcissist, and you'll find that to
I'm
be
very curious
true.
to see like what the fraud was. Just like they were taking people's money.
In an over their head situation.
I know, but how?
I don't know exactly.
I feel like there were so many people like passionate about it.
I think it just really went under. I think people like caught on like this is, I don't know, bad, something bad in there, bad seed or something.
Okay.
I'll have to figure that out.
Yeah.
I wasn't prepped on that. TBD. But yeah, so that's coming out on Apple TV Plus. Another thing, I guess, something coming up on Showtime is called Super Pumped, which is the co-founder of Uber. Some scandal there. So
Okay, let's get into it.
I love
guys.
Scambooze. If you guys like this series,
Yeah.
let us know. Also, you guys already know about Tinder Swindler, another good Scambooze.
Yeah, feel free to dog me on how terribly.
Me too.
told
I think
the
I was
story.
reading straight from a book nervously.
I mean, your approach was better than my approach.
I was still trying to act like I was telling a story, so maybe I'll get better.
I really did spend hours learning about it, but
Good.
trying-
I mean,
trying
you
for my-
knew. I do better when it's in front of me. I feel like you off the top of the dome can really let it rip.
Well,
Let us know, guys. Feedback on this episode. We're trying new things.
yeah, we want to just be able to talk about.
things that interest us.
Yeah, 'cause,
or
can we run out of topics to discuss on a relationship podcast? Yeah.
yeah, because we also don't know everything.
Don't tell my mom.
Don't tell my
I've been putting up that front since I was 13.
All right, guys, we freaking love you.
We do.
I will be taking a week off. So,
Oh yeah, I got to figure that out.
or we double record and you cut this out.
Who knows?
Who knows? We're figuring it out. Thanks for sticking with us. We love you so much. This is For Better and Worse Podcast. I'm Jess,
I'm Rach.
and we out.